Notts County Talk. It is episode 76 of the Pavis Perspective. We were a bit lost on Tuesday and Wednesday doing videos on the wrong day, but this is the right day, isn't it, George? This is Notts County Talk's Pavis Perspective Thursday.
It is, mate. Yeah, another video, another background for me. I'm in a different room tonight. It's ever changing because of all the stuff I'm doing in my house at the minute. I'm sure Ben will be interested in that one.
You're giving us a house tour, aren't you?
Might be.
Where is that? The kitchen? In the kitchen?
No, this is the main bedroom.
Garden?
Main
There's
bedroom.
flowers behind flowers.
I know, lovely wallpaper. A lovely wallpaper. It'll be coming down though. Don't worry about it. It's not my taste.
There we go. Loads to talk about tonight. Absolutely loads. We've obviously talked about the game. Despite being live twice this week, we haven't spoken about Dagenham really. We've got to speak about Bromley coming up. We've got to speak about the fact Wrexham got their victory. We've got to speak about the interview we did last night. You know, the debut to Lemon Evans. There's so much to speak about. For those that didn't catch last night's video, it's in the description. George, you want us to get a rundown of what we actually did last night if people haven't seen it?
Yeah, so fortunately for me and Tom, we were given the opportunity to interview the owners, Christopher and Alex. It was a really, really interesting video. Probably my most favorite video we've done yet, to be honest with you. Closely followed, obviously, by Luke Williams. Two guys that just, the way they hold themselves is just, superb, really. They're really professional. They know their stuff. They had a little quiz from me and Tom in there as well, which was very close, very close. So if you've not seen it, watch it after this because it's interesting to see who wins that quiz, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. They're competitive as well, which I like.
Yeah.
Which I like. So let's see who's tuning in with us tonight. For the third time this week, there'll be some people that have watched all three, which is massive for us. So evening to Jack, James, Ian, Chris, Dale, Debbie, Ian again, Dogs, Len, Shane, another Ian, Derek, Josh. Thank you for joining us. Really do appreciate it. There is a poll question in there. Already got quite a few votes. Do we concede too many goals from our own mistakes? Very simple one today. Yes or no? And final thing for me before we get started, if you could, well, if you listen on Spotify, if you could give us that 5-star review, it would massively appreciate it and boost us up. Or hopefully even get into the podcast charts, which would be unbelievable. But George, we haven't done a Pavis Perspective in months and months and months after a league loss. I'm not going to say bad as in the performance, but how bad was that defeat to Dagenham?
Yeah, it was really disappointing. A real sucker punch, wasn't it, really? Because I think I saw, was that XG? It was over 3, I believe, 3 point something. Which is just crazy. We had so many chances to put it away. It's just that one game, isn't it, where unfortunately for us, it's just not been possible. And there's just so many saves off the line, so many blocks from Dagenham. It literally on another day, and we've said it a few times now on the channel, it could have been 4 or 5-0 or 4 or 5-1. When you play them another 100 times, 99 times you beat them. So it's just one of those unfortunate days. But I can't help but feel Wrexham have got that coming as well. They cannot continue on the trajectory they're on, the way that they're playing.
We had a very, very quick, it was brief, but we had a very quick word with the owners yesterday. Just running them through the video format and talking just quickly to them, and without saying it became pretty apparent they're very stats-based people, aren't they? Obviously, they own Football Radar, and it became apparent that the way Wrexham are playing from a stats perspective is not sustainable. Look, the way no side in world football can play the way Notts and Wrexham have been playing and not drop points. There is no way absolutely no way Wrexham don't drop points for the rest of this season. No way. No way. It's not going to happen. So we just have to drop less points than them and then do it at their place.
Yeah.
Neil, Wrexham will get found out one of these weeks. Notts need to keep close. Yeah, I fully agree. We'll go into that Wrexham game in a second because we watched the whole thing, didn't we, George, on that watch along, and many, many people watched it with us.
Yeah,
we had 150 people at one point. I know not all Notts fans, there were some Wrexham fans. Those diehard ones in America, been through that thick and thin. Some of those are with us as well. For their sake, it'd be great for Wrexham to go up. They've suffered years of heartache, haven't they, since that documentary started? But loads. But going back to Dagenham, I was up and down out my seat thinking the ball was going to go in the back of the net and then it being blocked. What sticks in my... I actually haven't been able to bring myself to watch the highlights back. It's usually on losses I can. I generally haven't been able to look at the highlights. After they scored to go 2-1 up, we then had that little bit of a spell. Was it Macca that hit the post? It came out to Chickson. It was blocked. Yeah. And it fell to Macca again or Lemon Evans, and he's 3 or 4 yards out, and somehow it gets blocked. I mean, it was so frustrating. I was very, very, very down with that on Sunday. I've got to say.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's funny because we were talking about it leaving the ground, weren't we? In the league this season. Obviously, we weren't able to make Dorking. We've not seen Notts lose, and then lo and behold, a few days later we lose to Dagenham. So, yeah, the performance was there, wasn't it? Like, we're sort of discussing this now. The performance was there, and I think that's really why the fans sort of stayed to the end and clap the manager, clap the players, and there was still a good feeling even though we'd lost. So there's no real concern for me. At all, to be honest. It was just one of those games, the anomaly, I suppose, of the season. But then we go on to Bromley at the weekend, which is a very, very difficult place to go and team to beat.
Yeah. Luke Williams said at the end, he said he was absolutely like, I can't remember the phrase he used, but it was something, it wasn't this, but it was something along the lines of broken from that result, because he wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? You can tell at the end of games. And he said, I think as a manager, you'd rather see, maybe as a manager, you say you'd rather see your team lose after playing poorly than like that. It's tough to take. I'm not in that camp. If I'd have seen Notts turn up there and lose 2-1 and play terrible, I'd be very concerned for Saturday. Saturday's massive, but
I think from his perspective, though, sorry to butt in on you there. From his perspective, I think that's more of a tactical thing from his perspective, isn't it? Like if the team aren't playing to sort of, if the team are playing with the tactics and still not winning, that is obviously more concerning for him. Obviously not him at this specific moment because of how well Notts are doing. But if a manager's, relaying the team how to play, they're playing the way you want them to and they're still not winning, that's why he's concerned. Which I understand that point of view, but I am with you. You'd hate to see a bad performance at this point in the season.
Yeah, crushing. Tim said he called it crushing. I knew it was something along those lines. Chris said, when we lost to Dorking, we then had to go away to a York team who were doing well. They were a very good side there. Look what happened then. Similar response needed Saturday. I've just said this to you, haven't I? I think this Bromley game is... Obviously, Wrexham away is the hardest game left of the season, but I think this Bromley game is the second hardest. This Bromley one's really hard. And what a lot of people have been saying, and I think this has been our Achilles heel in recent years, we're training on Forest 3G pitch, aren't we? And it was in the training video that we're training on that. Because it's not the same. It's not the same. Dorking's pitch was Rubbercrumb, wasn't it?
It was,
and it took us a long time to get used to that. It's not the same. It doesn't run the same. So I think it's really, really good. I think it's a smart move to do, because if you're trained all week, you're fresh and prepared. It's not like we had a game Tuesday and we've only got a few days to prepare for it. We've got, we've had the full week, and I think there can only be benefits to it. There can only be benefits.
Did you watch Williams' video talking about
that? Was that today?
No, it wasn't. It was a few days ago. It's not. It's not the pre Bromley. It's about 20 minutes long. He's talking about the
no, I
music and
didn't
stuff
get
like
a chance to watch that.
He talks about that, and he talks about Dawkins' pitch being very very different.
Okay.
He doesn't say it like disrespectfully. He's very respectful the way he says it, but you can sort of understand that it was probably a bit bobbly, not the best standard possibly. So I don't think he's using that as an excuse. I just think he's literally saying it as it is. And I think they've sort of learnt from that, and now they're obviously training on the 3G pitch, which is it's really good because I don't think you'll get many teams this division, maybe the division above. Well, you won't get any teams in the division above playing on 3G, will you? But taking those sort of precautions before a game, like putting your team on the exact surface that they're going to be playing on. Like Williams literally leaves no stone unturned.
Yeah,
I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's that these details are what makes the difference.
Yeah, it's good. Question here from Kieran saying back 3 or back 4 with Baldwin out. We'll go on to that when we do our side a bit later on, but it's an important thing to think about. Phil, heartbreaking that Dagenham produced their best performance for 3 years, according to their interim manager, and then lose to Maidenhead. Yeah, that's frustrating. And Ian says, Phil just shows how much they raised their game when they played us and hope they do the same against Wrexham. My only concern is if we replay that game 100 times, no matter how well Dagenham defended, we would beat them the other 99 times. So I feel like if they play like that against Wrexham, the chances are again that Wrexham will just get a goal. I mean, we should have had 3 or 4. And it's like a cliche, isn't it? If you play that 100 times, you'll win 99. Genuinely, we would win 99 out of 100 times in that game.
Yeah.
We created so many chances. I think if they go to Wrexham and do the same, unless Wrexham can't put the ball in the back of the net like us, yeah, it's a hard one. It's really, really hard to take. And I don't want to look back at the season and their crucial points. People say, well, it's not just one game, but could you imagine we got that win against Dagenham and then Wrexham against Chesterfield would have had a lot more pressure on it?
Yeah. It can change the course of a game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But another thing as well from that video was Williams was talking about his family being at the Dagenham game. And he's sort of talking about the apartment that he's in Nottingham. His family all came back, and then when his children had gone to bed, and I think his parents or someone like that had left, and everyone was in bed, he was like, I wasn't going to be able to sleep that night, so I watched the game back. He's an animal.
Same dedication.
Yeah, he's an animal, and that I think, and we say it time and time again, but that is why we're so successful, because his passion to be successful is just, I think, unmatched, really.
Yeah. Do we talk about the penalty? I'm going to leave it up to you. I feel like I'm a broken record about referees.
Yeah. No, we'll talk about it. I think we should talk about it.
Stonewall,
move on. It's every week, isn't it?
Boring.
It's not like we get Stonewall penalties flagged, waved away every week. It's just that refs are just shocking. It's week in, week out. And that referee, I can't remember what his name is for me now, but
Liam Smith, something like that.
Something like that. I think something like that. It's not really important what his name is anyway. But we've had him before, and he was shocking then. We have him again, and he's shocking there, and it's just poor. And I know fans are obviously going to be quick to get on a referee's back if they make one bad decision. But every time that he's reffed a game, both times he's reffed a game, the atmosphere at Notts has been horrendous because it's just all aimed at the ref. He's completely lost the game both times. He just lost control of the game, and it was shocking. It really was shocking. I think he's probably one of the worst refereeing displays I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it was awful. It wasn't just that penalty shout either. It was everything.
When I did see Chickson's back though, and that is a penalty. Guy's gone completely through the back of him, and he's so close. The referee is so close there. So I don't know. You can say well, you should be winning the game without needing a penalty, but that's not how football works. Yeah, that's not how football works. So, and we would have had to score the penalty anyway. So, I think we have to move on from that game now. We have to move on. Like you said, great performance. We then watched Wrexham Chesterfield on Tuesday night. Game was done in 4 minutes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But they didn't look anything special to me.
They didn't. If McCallum, I don't know what was going on, but if McCallum had he could have literally had slippers on. I could have had slippers on and scored the chances he had.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. If any other day you score both those chances he has. Just gutting to see that as a Notts fan. Obviously wanting a result Chesterfield's way in that specific game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't look anything special really. I think that they look very effective on the break. You know, they look dangerous and they can break on a team very quickly. And all the players going forward. You got Mullin got the assist for the first goal. I thought it was a great assist. Great finish for the first goal as well. They seem really unified, don't they?
Yeah.
But in terms of dominance, they weren't dominant really. They weren't.
I don't want to like jinx anything, but Maka puts that chance away. Kedwin puts that chance away. They had Colclough, and all it took was
My daughter would have put that chance away, mate.
how old she?
5.
There you go. There you go.
There we go.
But Colclough was the only man that ran at them, right?
Yeah.
And he caused havoc. Look who we would have to run at them. Ruben, Aaron the Man, Jody Jones, Lemon Hay Evans. Kevin Scott can run at people.
The list goes on, mate.
We've got centre backs that can run at people and just completely non-stop. So I just don't. I didn't watch that and think, oh no, like we're in trouble here. I really didn't. Whether that's because Chesterfield were poor, I saw some Chesterfield fans on Twitter saying they deserve the win. They didn't deserve the win. They created a couple of chances and it would have been a different game. They weren't awful, but they weren't very good. So
yeah, I think they have the home advantage as well. And I think that home atmosphere at the minute, because of how well they're doing and their success off the pitch, it's their numbers are up, so it's a better atmosphere, isn't it? So
I'd love to know how many tickets we'll get there.
I'd say about 700.
Bare minimum.
Yeah,
bare minimum. Got to be loud there. Have to be loud.
Yeah.
And it was there was a penalty in there as well at 2-0, which should have been.
Of course, there was as well.
Yeah.
And this is. We're not going to be like, yeah, it was a penalty. Even it was a genuine penalty. If it's the other end, you see him giving, don't you?
Do you know what makes it doesn't look a result's a result, but you've got, like James said, you've got a lot of Rex fans saying they're not playing very good football. Football's not about how nice football looks. We're playing the best football we've played in my lifetime. The football is so good. Like this, and we're playing well and taking it teams every week.
Yeah,
they're not, and that's the point. It's going to come. This league is not over, over by a long way. I mean, Saturday could be very different. Come 7:30 Saturday, very different. But as of right now, it's not over.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this. It's so important that we get promoted this season. I think so important, more than you could imagine. And everyone talks about. We sort of talked about it a few times. We even mentioned it in the briefly from one of the questions in the video last night about potentially losing players. But I think we're overlooking the fact that I know we've just given Williams an extension, but if we don't go up this season, there will be clubs sniffing around Williams.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You get the fee for him, but I would much rather have Luke Williams than any fee that could be given for him, because I think he is phenomenal.
He's literally priceless.
He's priceless. Yeah, you're right. And we really, really, the heat's on, isn't it? Really, we must go up this season.
You're not going to get your high 6 figures or $1 million that you're going to get for Maka for a manager. No way. So this is where, I agree. One thing it did say to me is, we asked the question, and the brothers both said, regardless of what happens, they believe the squad will be stronger next year than this year, whatever league we're in. I mean, I don't know. Can you get a much stronger squad in this division when we're going to lose people? But then, look, I'm not talking doom and gloom. I'm just reflecting on what they said. Then you think about it, the funds we would then have to build a squad And if Wrexham were out the division, if we've not gone up, Wrexham are up. Essentially, if we've not gone up, Wrexham are definitely up. I'd be happy with just cherry picking players from teams, the best of the best. Take them with that money we've got, like Chesterfield did with Coleclough. You know, you can then go and get Sabara, bring those players in. So let's hope we're in League Two, but this is not over. And I think there's a few Wrexham fans, as soon as they've gone in front, that think it is already. I do think there are. So, and I genuinely don't think any Notts fans, when we were in front, thought that the league was over. So we've got the upper hand there, I think, in terms of mentality. But yeah, like you said, difficult place to go, and we're ticking over to just over a month now until we go there. Oh dear, it's going to be a big one. Shake him.
Shaking already.
Shake him. Not for the fact we have to play them, but the fact we have to go there. So let's talk about Conor Lemon-Evans. I thought his debut was good. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was good. I'd like to see him get a start though. We've seen how effective he can be. Obviously, he comes on. He's showing good glimpses, but we really want to see him to his full potential. So it would be good, I think, to see him start. Whether Williams thinks he's up to that yet is obviously up to him, and I'm sure he'll be right in when he does come in. But yeah, he's one of those players, because we've seen how good he can be. I'm really excited to see him, fulfill his potential at Notts.
Yeah, I agree. I think he could start, on Saturday. I think when you go to somewhere like Bromley, I think you need people that they're not necessarily wanting to not wanting to leave space, because he's one of those players that will pick the ball up, like we saw at Torquay last year, and you're just gonna run at them. Ian thinks he won't get a start for a while due to fitness. Could be right. I did think the same about Jody Jones, and within sort of 3 games he was starting there, wasn't he? I know there was injuries there, but yeah, I think that'll be interesting. That'll be really interesting to see what he does.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see Aaron Mann? Because I think he's a massive loss if we don't.
Yeah, I think we have to, really, don't we? There's no alternative. Toby's out long term, isn't he? He's got to have an operation.
The man seems to be in and out, doesn't he?
Yeah, Jody does a fantastic job when he dropped in there a few fixtures ago. I think, you have to go for the man, because I think Jody can drop in a bit further up the pitch and start. But it's so difficult, isn't it? Like when you think about the quality that we do have, you like you've just mentioned there, you have to put a man in for me. But then if you put a man in, then you kind of hoping Jody starts, but then you kind of want Conor Lemon-Evans to start, but Ruben will be starting. There's just so much quality and talent there that you've got to sort of keep happy and get in the squad. It's crazy, but it's a really good problem to have, I suppose, isn't it? As the cliche goes.
Yeah, 100%. Got a question here, George, sort of pulling away from it, but we always like questions. Harrison says, since we came down to the National League, who do you think has been our best player? Ruben for me, consistently over the years.
Matty Palmer for me, by a distance.
And you're a smart guy as well, but in that instance, he's been second best. No, I think you could easily argue for either of those. Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's great to have Jordan in with us. Always love him joining us live. He says, Austin has been really good form recently. I'd rather see him than Lemon-Evans. Do you think?
I'm just going to start you there, Tom. Jordan has this really weird thing, doesn't he, where he can't seem to decipher between Austin and Baldwin. So let's just give Jordan a few minutes and make sure he's actually talking about Austin and not Baldwin, because I'm not sure if Jordan knows that Baldwin's out for 2 games. So we'll give him a few minutes.
Jordan, do you mean Sam Austin? The one that plays further forward. We'll be at a game, won't we? And I'm not calling Jordan out here, but I'm calling Jordan out here. We'll be at a game, and he'll say something like, he's giving the ball away again. And we just have to look at him and say, who's that? And he says, Austin. It's not, it's Baldwin. Baldwin's at the back. Come on, Jordan, just let us know. Is it Austin? I think he must be talking about Austin. He's
thinking.
Do you think it was a mistake not starting him and starting Jim when he was in that good form? Because we sat here last Thursday and both said categorically he is undroppable.
Yeah, I thought so. I did think so, but maybe there's a bit of soreness there. I'm not sure, but I don't know. Jim always gives it some, doesn't he? But that moment in time, yeah, I think I'd have to say I feel like that maybe is one that he got wrong.
Could
But
you?
the performance was still there. The performance was still there. It's not like Jim being in the squad was the reason we lost, because it's
No.
not by any stretch at all. Like there was no problems there for me. But I just felt like Austin deserved to start that game.
Yeah, I think so. And I could probably count the decisions on one hand I think Williams has got wrong. There's only a very small handful. Very small. And then a few people, he says definitely Austin. Well done, George. There's a few people then talking about the severity of Toby's injury. I do feel for him.
Yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame. It's because when called upon, he has been really good, hasn't he? And he had to bide his time a bit at the start of the season to fall into Williams' favour. It's good to see that he's got the mentality to do that. So he obviously is a really good player, and Williams speaks very highly of him. So yeah, big loss, big loss. It'll be interesting to see, Jordan. It'll be interesting to see if what happens there. If we'll see him before the end of the season, or if we'll bring someone in, or who knows.
I think we're happy with Toby there. I think. Ian sticking up for Jordan says bang out of order that we've revealed that. It is, and I'd like to say I feel really bad. I'm not. I don't.
Yeah, I don't feel bad.
Jordan's great. Jordan can take it. He's driving us to Barnet as well. Dogs, who do you think from the squad will be released at the end of the season? Squad's so strong, I couldn't say. If I was to put, I'll give you one name that came straight to my head. Then the first name, and probably the only name that I'll be definite is, I think, is Ed Francis.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's my only.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Chickson.
If we go up, he stays. I think.
I don't know. I think either way, if we go up or stay, don't go up. I think it'd be interesting.
We've got another question. Who's your favourite signing this season?
I've had a few, you know. I feel like at the start of the season, I was very vocal about Bajrami. I thought he's really good, but his starts have sort of tailed off. We've not seen much of him, have we, recently, really? But obviously, there's the obvious Langstaff. He has to be in there. Scott, for me, I really like Scott. I rate Scott very highly.
I like
gives his all, and I tell you what, he can shoot from anywhere. He can shoot from any position. He can have his back to goal and shoot in an instant, and it'd be really, really good attempt and potentially a goal. So,
one of mine is Jody Jones. You know.
Yeah, Jody Jones.
The way after
Bostock, we've got loads of good signings this season.
The way after 3 games, he was beating his chest against Chesterfield, and like shouting at with the fans, and I thought, I love that just for pure passion. If you could keep one, is it Jody or Connor? Now I've said how much I like Jody Jones, but keeping one
I'd keep Jody.
Term, I'd keep Connor in the long term. You never know of those injuries. Jody Jones for me, I was going to say he's impressed me more than Connor, but Connor's played about half an hour. But ability-wise, Jody Jones is better. I would just be worried. Those 2 injuries, big ones. You know, if he wasn't injured, it would be a no-brainer for me, Jody Jones.
Yeah.
But what have we had him for? 7, 8 games, maybe? Mm-hmm. I love him, though. I think he's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Phil says we haven't made a bad signing this year. Definitely not. Definitely not. Chris, I think we've wasted Badrama's talent by only using him as a defender. His centre mid performance against Solo is one of the best performances of the season. Yeah, George, big fan of Badrama, as you just said. Josh, if Ruben was to leave, would Jody be a good replacement? Yeah, I think so. I mean, most people here saying Jody. I think if Jody carries on how he is and we don't go up, there's no way he's with Notts next year. I know he's only a loan now. But I think Oxford have got a new manager, so they probably want to get him back, if I'm honest. We play him into form for them, then they get him for the next season. So, George, Bromley currently in 9th, 51 points. Notts second, 83 points. Bromley Scored 49. We scored 89, which is actually crazy. We've scored 40 goals more than them. Almost double in their total. They've conceded 41, so they don't concede many.
But neither did Southend.
But yeah, neither did Southend. And we did that, didn't we? If we look at Bromley's recent form, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You're looking at one loss in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One loss in 10, and that was to a good Woking side. They beat Torquay away. We know how hard it was to beat Torquay away. They drew with Eastleigh away. We know how hard it was at Eastleigh. So but there are games in there, Maidenhead, Scunthorpe, where they've got draws, and you'd expect them to really win. Their last loss, the only loss they've got are Woking away and Wrexham away in the last, in something like the last 16. With too many draws in there. If we were to go there and get a draw, bad result.
Yeah, yeah, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, and I think if we were to draw that, it would put us on 83, and Wrexham were to win, it would put them on 87. There's a 4-point gap with a game. A 3-point gap with a game in hand. It would then start to be looking very, very difficult. So it's a win or nothing, isn't it? I think if we get through Bromley, we then have Dorking at home, Eastleigh at home, which are winnable games. Barnet away, which is a bit tricky, but then Scunthorpe at home, Altrincham away, Wheelstone before we go to Wrexham, where we could build momentum. There's one real hard game in there, I think, and it's Barnet. I mean, all the games are tricky, but we've got to stick with them. Should we go for our team then?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Go on, let you start. You're a great lad, you are.
Yeah, thanks, mate. So I've seen a bit of discussion there about 4 at the back or 3 at the back. I don't know why you change it from 3 at the back. That's where we've had all our success, isn't it, really? So for me, it has to stay 3 at the back. Obviously, in goal, Slocum. Back 3, I'm going to go for Rawlinson, Bajrami, and Cameron. Wing backs, Chickson, the main. In the centre, I'm going to go for Palmer and Bostock with Rodriguez, Jody Jones, and Maka.
Done. Sorted. That's my team.
Is it?
That's my team, yeah.
Virtual handshake.
Yeah. If Jones does start in that free role with Ruben, that would be really good. Really good. I'd be happy, as I said, with Lemon Havens playing there, but like Ian said, maybe he's not fit enough to start that. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But if you've got those two playing in behind Maka, Scott, I don't think will be ready at all. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how we play against them and how we line up, really. So that's the lineup we've gone for, and then the bench from that would be unbelievably strong, wouldn't it? You'd have Connor Lemon Havens on that bench. You would have probably Vincent on that bench.
Austin.
Yeah, you'd have Austin on the bench, obviously a really strong player. Probably Jim. And then who would fill that last spot? Ed Francis, maybe?
Yeah.
Vinny, if I haven't said that. But it's strong. It's strong, but there's not, for me, been a more must-win game of this season. We've said we've got to go and win games on this show, but this is the biggest must-win of all. James says we won't have a defender on the bench, will we? No, that's the only issue. We won't have a defender on the bench. I mean, you've got Vincent that came in at left wing back, whether he could do a job there.
Ed Francis has played fullback, so you'd sort of maybe say he could do a job if needed. One of the wide centre backs.
We're not in if needed territory, are we? Yeah. Mahovo training with the first team. Think he'll be on the bench Saturday, possibly. Ooh. Big game away at a bullying team like Bromley.
No,
Vinny's injured, isn't he? A big bullying side like that. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. They are. Someone's just said. I don't know how. Someone said their captain went off injured, and so did Michael Cheek. Is that true in the Torquay game?
Couldn't tell you.
Just gonna have a look now. Michael Cheek came off on 50 minutes for Burkamp, which is Dennis Burkamp's son, isn't it? And just to let you know that. Dennis Bergkamp's plays for them. And who's their captain? I don't actually know who their captain is. Byron Webster. 35 years old, Byron Webster. He came off as well. So if they're both off, it looks good. When did he come off? He came off in the 40th before half time. So we'll see. We'll see. But they still did get a win after it being levelled with those two players off the pitch. We'll see. Right, let's go to the poll, George.
Go on then, let's go for it. Right. Fairly straightforward one, I think, this week. Do we concede too many goals from our own mistakes? 84% say yes, 16% say no. What did you go for, Tom?
I thought I would be a straight yes, but then I thought about it, and I still put yes, but it was much more difficult decision than I thought when I was typing that out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. For the reason that we sort of discussed, we talked about it this week, I feel like. I think it was on Tuesday night. You know, we are in the National League. We play a fantastic brand of football. And obviously the players at this level, with the most respect to them, will have errors in their game. And I think that's what we see, you know. I think that's the be all and end all, really. And I'm not digging certain players out because, you know, there's been a few players that have made mistakes that have led to goals this season. But sort of touching back on the point, I'm sure Slocum's contract's up at the end of the season. So given that, I wonder if we'll see him sort of depart and then maybe bring in someone that's, you know, come through an academy that's used to playing out from the back. Another interesting topic, I suppose.
I struggled with this. I still put yes because it's frustrating, really frustrating. But the reason I didn't find it easy is because if we weren't conceding from our mistakes, I feel like we wouldn't be creating as much, because it relies on people being brave. Like, how many times does, let's say, Baldwin lose the ball? Twice a game, maybe. It feels like it's more, but twice a game. But how many times does he play a progressive pass or dribble past someone? It outnumbers that, and it starts attacks. Kyle Cameron may lose the ball a couple of times, but most of the time he wins a free kick, doesn't he? But may lose the ball a few times, but how many times does he break through? Same with Rollo. His passing's getting fairly good. How many times does he lose the ball? Maybe once a game, twice a game. But if we take that out, you'll be back to the not boring, but the football that frustrates fans where, you know, it's left, right, and no one wants to play a ball through. Wrexham scored their goal against Chesterfield because they played a forward ball through. 2 4 balls, one into Mullin and one into Elliot Lee. 2 4 balls, goal. You know, Will's put it there, high risk, high reward. And I suppose you look at it the other way. If we're not conceding by being carved open, did we last concede by being carved open against Bournemouth? Was it? That was so long ago.
Yes, I think
before
it was.
That was Oldham, Oldham on Boxing Day before that.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else. So I think it's hard. I'm frustrated how many we do concede, because that's where most of our points have been dropped. But at the same time, it's because of the way we play. So, yeah. Chris says, I'm sure we could secure a playoff spot this weekend if we win. That's unbelievable if true. Unbelievable. We're going to have a very quick look at the table. There's no way we finish 4th either. So, they're 56 points, Barnet, in 4th. There's not a chance we finish 4th. So one of those top 3 spots for what is the top 2 spots, isn't it? One of those top 2 spots. Right then, George, score prediction to finish off. What are you thinking?
Steady one. I'm going 2-1 Notts.
It has to be, doesn't it? We've got to get the win.
Yeah. I'm going Langstaff and Jody Jones. Why not?
I'm going to go 1-0 with anyway. I don't care if it's the worst performance. This game here for me is all result over performance all the time, but this one for me has to be. It has to be a win. Any possible way. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go Maka, and I think it'll be a late one. Hearts in mouth moment. I think it'll be a great goal like he did against Maidenhead in that 4-3, which Wrexham have to go to Maidenhead, and someone put in the chat they've only won 1 in 7 at Maidenhead. Different team this year, obviously, but tricky one. So let's see what we've got. We'll start off with the most sensible one. We've got 4-0 Chicks and Hat-trick and Ruben Penn. We've got 4-1 Langstaff, Brace, Ruben Penn, Chicks and Header. You've got Ian going for a 2-1 Notts, Ruben and Macca. Gotta hope so. Will's gone for a 1-0 Ruben Penn. The man that takes pressure penalties, isn't he?
He does.
Len, 2-0 Notts, Macca ×2. We've got a 2-0 Notts, Macca ×2 from Stephen. What else have we got? Let's have a look. James has gone for a 1-0. Evans off the bench to win it. Yeah, Lemon Evans would be unbelievable for a winner from him. Josh, 2-0 Ruben Penn and Macca. I would like it to be a comfortable win. I'll go for a couple more. 1-0 Jim off his backside. Yeah, mirroring the Michael Cheat one that he got at our place last year. Shane's gone 3-1 Notts, and I'll go for Chris, who has gone 4-1 Macca ×2, Jones and Ruben. Could you imagine, George, if we did what we did against Southend?
Yeah,
it would almost be like a message to the rest of the league and Wrexham, like we've lost one, but we're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
like, we're there. We're here to stay now. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, sold out away end. We're not going. It's one of the last few games this season we're not going to. Maybe even the last game this season we can't make. So safe travels if you're going there. Do your best to bring back 3 points. You're going to have to be loud because it's going to be one where I think it's going to have the fans to bring it over the line. If you've not checked out our video with Christopher and Alexander Reeds, we urge you to do so. It's in the description below this video, or you can just type it in, find it on YouTube. If we do say so ourselves, really interesting video. Lots of positive points to pick out about the club. As always, thank you to the near 100 of you that have joined us on this Thursday night. We'll be back next Thursday with our Pavis perspective, but we will have reaction to the Bromley game on our channel pretty soon after full time. Please don't forget to like, comment anything else you think of, and subscribe to the channel.